Hi there, welcome to Money Tips. As we approach the festive season, Christmas and New Year, there are 150 residents of a London apartment block who will not be enjoying this Christmas. Why? Because they've been served Section 21 notices to evict them from their homes by their corporate landlord. Now, this is obviously very, so they don't have to leave by Christmas, but getting the letter before Christmas is a real downer, isn't it? Even though they've got 2 months' notice. And the landlord company, which I'm going to show you in a second, says that it's because they are going through a multi-million pound refurbishment. And I'll just share the screen with you now. Okay, you should be able to see the screen now. Entire London apartment block to be evicted. This isn't all over the press, and it's in less than a few weeks before Christmas. And obviously, the BBC are covering it in from the human perspective of showing, a single mum. Some of the people there have got businesses in the premises. It's an old converted building in Deptford. Looks like an old sort of warehouse type conversion. Very nice. And there's 83 flats, Childers Street in Deptford. And it's obviously very sad, for these people. So Section 21, as you probably know, is a mechanism whereby a landlord can ask somebody to leave, to evict them in effect, without having to give a reason. It's called a no-fault eviction, often called. Now, the government wants to abolish this under their Renters' Rights Bill, which is a bit of a rehash of the previous Conservative government's Renters' Reform Bill. And Michael Gove brought this in, and the idea was to abolish Section 21. And that they're keen to push this through. And from when this is enacted, which will probably be sometime in the new year, landlords will no longer be able to serve a Section 21 notice and ask their tenants to leave. They will have to give a reason, a valid reason, in fact, to regain possession of their own property. So the tenants have been given notice to leave. The owners of the block say that it's because they have a multi-million pound refurbishment going through, but they're called the Aitch Group. And this might be true. I'm not doubting their word, but it smacks to me of a situation where they're worried about the Section 21 being abolished, the notice being abolished. They're worried about the rights that these tenants will have, and they're trying to maybe clear out the building, maybe refurbish, maybe employ another strategy for their renting. Maybe they're going into temporary accommodation, because Deptford would be, one of those areas where I'm sure they could get lots of Airbnb, booking.com type of rentals, or maybe they're going to turn the whole building over to asylum seekers. I don't know. They might convert it to a hotel. Who knows? But for whatever reason, they're serving the notice now rather than waiting until it would be much more difficult for them to regain control of the property. Now, I'm not sure if this is happening on the wider market. I have heard of landlords getting out anecdotally, but we don't know if this is a common theme at the moment. We shall have to see. Another article I was looking at showed that in one court in Dartford in Kent, there were eviction notices being dealt with like every 10 minutes. Yeah, eviction, eviction, eviction. And these were for various reasons, probably not Section 21, but more like Section 8 or Section 21 notices that had been challenged in the court. I know from my own experience, serving a Section 21 notice doesn't necessarily mean you get possession of the property in 2 months. In fact, the tenants just stayed put. The council have advised them, don't move, because we won't rehouse you if you just move out, which is totally unhelpful. The council have just been lazy about it and saying, well, Deptford Council, the council in Deptford have got 11,000 people on their waiting list. So if a Section 21 is served and people ask the council, will you rehouse me? They'll say, no, you have to stay there until you are physically evicted, which means going through the court anyway. And then we'll help you and put you into temporary accommodation. Now, why they can't do that immediately, I don't know. But that's the way they work. So that's what's happening in the market. I'd like to hear your comments on what you are doing, because I know of many landlords switching to different types of strategies. Some landlords are saying, well, I'm going to lease my property to a housing association, for instance. It will be a lower rent, but it's guaranteed for 3-5 years. And sometimes it's a full repairing lease, and I don't have to worry about tenants anymore. Some are leasing their properties out for asylum seekers, and some are going into that holiday Airbnb type market where they're dealing with temporary accommodation for higher rents, but obviously more work involved and certainly higher management fees. So let me know what you think and what you're doing. Just wanted to finally end on something about letting in general and property. And that is, I wonder, do you have your properties in your own name or in a limited company? Now, traditionally, people bought in their own name. Most of the lenders preferred to lend to people individually. They didn't like letting through limited companies, and many lenders still don't. And they charge a higher rate for that. So most people just, including myself, I bought my properties in my own name, and that was the normal way of doing it. But then George Osborne, under the last government, brought in this clause called Section 24 of the Finance Bill, and that meant that from that time on, any property owners who had second properties in their own name could not offset the interest that they paid on their loan, their mortgage, against their rental income. And this didn't affect basic rate taxpayers so much, but it affected higher rates taxpayers. And I won't go into all the technicalities of it, but if you've got a property in your own name and you're a higher rate taxpayer, you may be finding that suddenly you're paying this tax, extra tax, and it might be causing you problems. Some people have said that they're no longer in profit because they've had the double whammy of interest rates going up and then this tax benefit disappearing, which is totally contrary to any other business type of loan arrangement. However, they said that corporate landlords with properties, at that time, there were mostly bigger landlords with properties in limited companies, were exempt from this. And it was a real kick in the teeth to smaller landlords and people that tended to vote Conservative in the main. I'm making a generalisation, but they tended to be people that were rowing their own boat. They wanted to get on. They wanted to build some retirement income, and yet the government had kicked them in the teeth at that time. And that was the last government, who were supposed to be the government of small business and entrepreneurship and so on. Now, if you're in that position and you need advice, I've got a firm of accountants that specialize in this type of advice, and they can give you a free consultation as to whether it's worthwhile or not. Now, if you've got one or two, it's probably not worth it. Three or more, yes, I would say in general, yes, but it's still worth talking to them. A lot of people would approach their own accountant, and their own accountant says, well, it's not really worth it. You have to go for this and you pay tax and that sort of thing. They're just not, they just want to carry on doing their accounts. They're not proper advisors. But these people specialize in it. And yes, there might be tax implications, but they've got a way around it. And it's a legal method of transferring properties from your own name into a limited company whilst mitigating certain tax liabilities and stamp duty and that sort of thing. So have a word. If you want to more advice on it, have a word with them. Just email me at charles@charleskelly.net and I'll put you directly in touch with them and you can talk to them directly. I don't give advice myself on this, but I think it's best that you just talk to them directly. Okay, thanks very much and see you again in the next video. Bye for now.